What's up, everyone? I hope everyone's week is starting fantastically. I hope everyone's weekend went well. Today we are doing a reading for What Do Others Imitate About You and Why? So I am very interested to see what comes through for this reading. We very often get copycat energies that come through for the other readings. So it's already kind of been stated that for at least some of the collective, you might deal with people liking your style a little bit too much. I know that this kind of reading can lean a little bit more negative. We're not gonna go very far in that direction. Jealousy is obviously something that might come up a little bit in this kind of reading. It's not something that we're gonna focus a whole lot on, though. Regardless, if this kind of reading makes you uncomfortable or anything like that, please feel free to find a different reading or skip this one entirely and wait for the next one. Don't do anything or watch anything that's going to trigger you or make you uncomfortable. And that being said, we're going to have 4 piles. So pile number 1 is going to be the 3 of clubs. Pile number 2 is going to be the 3 of hearts. Pile number 3 is going to be the 9 of clubs. And pile number 4 is going to be the 8 of spades. All right, and for our collective energy, we've got the 7 of clubs. Really interesting. So 7 of clubs is indicative of 7 of wands energy. And the 7 of wands card for me has always been the perseverance card. This is less of an energy of imitation and more of an energy of inspiration. You inspire people to fight. As a collective, you guys inspire people to fight and to move forward. In different aspects, I'm getting that it's going to be something that crops up in different areas of your life, but you encourage the people around you to not give up and to continue fighting and moving forward towards what they want and towards their goals. It's excellent energy. It's very inspirational energy. All right. And again, for the piles, we've got pile number 1 with the 3 of clubs, pile number 2 with the 3 of hearts, pile number 3 with the 9 of clubs, and pile number 4 with the 8 of spades. All right. And we're going to start off with pile number 1 and the 3 of clubs. Lots of clubs energy to start off with already. I'm getting that you guys are very fiery. This is a very condensed version of that collective energy that we were just looking at. The 10 of cups popping out right away. You make people feel welcome. People are very inspired by you. This is strong mentorship energy, regardless of how old you are. People are very inspired by the things that you do and the way that you hold yourself. I'm getting like with the passion that you walk through the world with. People meet you at a time in their lives when they're lacking in inspiration or when they're feeling really worn out or really tired out. You know what I mean? And you inspire them. You bring fire back into their lives. You bring passion back into their lives. I'm getting that it's probably difficult for you to have casual relationships with people. This is very intense energy. Really, you might deal with people developing like, we won't say obsessions, but something similar to that with you. Like, you might deal with people feeling or developing really intense feelings towards you really quickly. This is also, unfortunately, energy that, like, when it burns out very dramatically, I'm getting. People come into your life and they feel very strongly about you. And when they leave your life, they feel very strongly about leaving it, regardless of why, regardless of even how. Like, I'm getting people don't like leaving your life. Even when it feels mutual, there's definitely a feeling of a loss here. People don't like leaving your life. The fire goes out a little bit. I'm getting that, like, the world gets a little bit more dull and things just seem a little bit less exciting. Like, you bring a lot of fun to people's lives and you encourage the people around you to have fun in a way that I'm getting a lot of people, especially if you are on, like, the older side, in a way that a lot of the people around you don't get as much anymore. Like, you bring fun and you bring passion and you bring joy with you to areas that really lack that. I'm getting you come into people's lives like a ray of sunshine, and it brightens people's days, it brightens people's lives, it inspires them to be more passionate about their own lives, it inspires them to look for more fulfillment in their lives. Job fulfillment came out really strongly right there. You change people's perspectives is what I'm getting. Like, this feels very alternative. You likely live an alternative lifestyle in one way or another, or in several ways, and it gives people different perspective. Like, you encourage people to look at things from a different perspective. There's a little bit of manic pixie dream girl energy going on here already. I'm getting that people imitate you because they develop very strong fixations on you. Like, you are likely someone who, when you have, like, a best friend, you find yourself, like, your interests meld really strongly together, and, like, you two start being the kind of, like, friends that can finish each other's sentences. You might find that this is very similar for, like, your lovers as well. Just the people that you get close to, the people that you develop relationships with, there's a really intense feeling here. It's very transformative, it's very magnetic, it's very fiery. People's lives are touched and changed by exposure to you, usually in a very good way, always in a very dramatic way. People remember knowing you, they remember their time in your life. Regardless of how long or how short that is, people remember the impact that you've had in their life. This is also very strong late bloomer energy. You may have been someone who has really grown into yourself as you've grown, regardless of how old you are right now. You are likely someone who's found that you've grown into yourself. I might have mentioned mentor energy earlier, and this is the kind of energy that, like, again, regardless of how old you are, people who are either younger or less mature than you, they find a lot of inspiration in the fact that have they find a lot of inspiration in the fact that you yourself are so grown. Like, there are a lot of people who would like to be like you. There are a lot of people who would like to grow into themselves the way that you grew into yourself. Even I'm getting people who are potentially older than you. Like, you just seem to have yourself figured out on one level or another. Even if you feel like you are a bit of a hot mess, people feel as though you are someone who has yourself figured out. The Three of Clubs is indicative of Three of Wands energy. The Three of Wands is the card of movement forward and execution. The Two of Wands is the card of planning and prep. The Three of Cards is the card of taking that planning and prep and actually moving forward with it. You are not talk. You're not all talk. You back up the things that you say, and you back up. Specifically, I'm getting your desires, your plans, and your goals. Like, you're someone who is willing to do the work to get what you want out of life. And especially for people who deal with things like anxiety or low self-esteem, they find that energy so rejuvenating. Like, you might find again that like when you get friends, when you get like lovers of any sort, coworkers even, people pick up your traits really quickly and people like mind meld with you very, very quickly. People imitate your style specifically because they want to be like you. Like, people are really impressed with how you live your life. Especially the longer people have known you, the more people have known you, or the more people know about you or know of you or have heard of you, the more they want to be like you. Like, the more they want to follow in your footsteps. Very sunny, very like sunny starlight. You shine very brightly, and you shine very brightly in people's memories as well. You're likely being very well missed right now. That might be why this energy is coming through so strongly in this reading. There are people who are missing you, and they're missing the fire that you brought to their life, and they're missing the encouragement that you brought to their life specifically, is what I'm getting. There's a lot of support here, and I'm getting like whether you realize you're supporting people or not, like it's very natural for you, I'm getting, to, if someone tells you something, for you to be like, okay, yeah, you can do it. Like it's very natural for you to just be encouraging. Like, it's not something that you do to like immediately pick apart people's dreams or immediately pick apart people's goals or tell them all the reasons why they can't do it or shouldn't do it or whatever. Like, people bring you ideas or goals, or they come to you looking for advice or even just like reassurance, and you give it to them. You're like, yeah, you can do it. You can totally do that. Like, you're very encouraging. And it brings a lot of light to people's lives. This is really strong sunshine energy, very strong star energy. You are likely someone who finds that your friends develop crushes on you and like your coworkers develop crushes on you really easily. This is very... You are lovely inside and out. The energy coming through is very Venusian to match all of that fire. Hilariously enough, I'm getting very strong like Venus Aries energy here. You know what I mean? Venus Mars energy here. People are very attracted to you. You are a very attractive person, both inside and outside. This is the energy of glowing from the inside out. And that energy, that brightness that you bring to the table, it is awe-inspiring to people. I'm getting, that's what they want to imitate from you. That's why people imitate you. And we've got the 9 of Pentacles popping out right there, the Independent Woman card. Regardless of how you identify, you come off as someone so independent. You come off as someone who knows what you want and who knows what you're doing with your life. Again, regardless of whether or not you feel like a hot mess, when people look at you, for the most part, they see someone who knows what they want out of life, and they see someone who knows where they're going in life, and at the very least knows what path they would like to be on. We've got the Queen of Pentacles popping out, along with the 5 of Cups and also the 5 of Pentacles. You have been through a lot in your life. You have definitely gone through the ringer. The 5 of Pentacles and the 5 of Cups runs the gamut of emotional, physical, financial heartbreak. Like, you've been through the gamut of experiences, and you've come out on the other side a very caring person, someone who... The Queen of Pentacles is indicative of Capricorn energy, someone who fights for what they want. and puts in, more than fights, puts in the work. Like, I feel like sometimes we forget that fighting in terms of like quick bursts of energy can be easier than putting in long stretches of work, going through the times of the Seven of Pentacles and not seeing any kind of forward motion, and still doing it regardless, putting in the work regardless, trusting that things will come through on the other end regardless. And it takes someone really special to do that with fire in their step the entire time. You're very special. People find you to be very special, and people want to be special like you. Like, they want to glow like you. They want to be beautiful on the inside and the outside like you. People want to be like you because they find you to be very inspirational. All right. What more can we know, please? What more can we know about why people imitate you? All right, and we've got the Temperance card. Now that's more that's Sagittarian energy, that's more fire energy. And it's also the energy of healing and peace. Again, people find you to be someone who knows what you want in life, with the crown in the back right there and the path leading up to it, and all of the peace that comes with the angel. People find you to be someone who knows what you want out of life. And they want that clarity. There are people, especially I'm getting people who, especially the people in your life who might not treat you the best. Those especially are people who they envy your clarity. If you catch people maybe copying your style a little bit, but also not treating you the best in the process, they're jealous of they're likely jealous of a lot of things, but they envy your clarity, and they envy the peace that they feel that you have. They envy the direction that they feel that you're going in, and the faith in that direction that you seem to be going in with it. You know what I mean? And we've got the Page of Swords coming out. The Page of Swords, and I'm thinking we're going to do 3 cards for this deck so we can get to the other deck, but the Page of Swords is coming out at the center of your 3-card spread for right now. Very indicative of the fact that you have a lot of eyes on you. You're coming through as the angel right here, and the page is even watching, and the page does come through as the spy card a lot of the time, the most perceptive card. So you're in the public eye quite a bit, and if you're not in the public eye literally, there are eyes on you. There are people watching you in a good way. Like, people find you to be inspirational. People have their eye on you because they find you to be someone whose footsteps they can walk in. You also make people, regardless of how old you are, you make people feel very young. And when I say young, I mean immature. The Temperance card to the Page card. Like, you make people feel very immature, especially in their experiences. Regardless of how old you are, again, you've been through quite a bit in your life. Much more more than likely, much more than other people in your age range have gone through. So you come with a lot of experience. You make people feel very young, very immature. You might catch some flack sometimes with people acting like you feel like you are more experienced or mature than they are. When you're not really doing that, you just are. Like, they're just aware of the fact that you are, and they're upset about that, or they feel insecure about that difference in like experience level. And we've got the Nine of Pentacles coming out to cap it off, and to remind you of the fact that, again, people find you to be very abundant. The Nine of Pentacles is such a card of abundance. People find a lot of abundance to come from you, and they want that. Like, they want that. They want that independent energy. They want that abundance. They want that, like, They want that inner beauty that you have. That seems to color your outer beauty as well. And we've got the sun card at the bottom of the deck. I think I already mentioned that there's a lot of sun energy here, a lot of sun energy, a lot of star energy. You are a bright ray of sunshine in people's lives, and they want to be that for other people. People are very encouraged by the light that you bring to their lives. You make them want to go out and bring that light to other people's lives. You might be someone who compliments people just like random strangers when you're out in the world. And if you are, know that you bring a lot more happiness to people's lives than you realize. People take your compliments to heart. And you brighten their day in a way that makes them go on to brighten other people's days. It's that energy of like passing it forward. You know what I mean? You make people feel noticed and shined on, sunshiny, and they go on to spread that sunshine to the other people who they interact with. It's lovely, lovely energy. And it starts with you. It starts with the fact that you are willing to go out into the world with a smile on your face. All right, what more can we know, please? About what people imitate about you. What do people imitate about you and why? This is heartbreaker energy, and I'm getting it's heartbreaker energy, and you don't mean for it to be. You just kind of come into people's lives sometimes a little bit like a hurricane. You sweep them up in a bunch of emotions that they might not be used to, and you leave, but you you never meant to do that. Like, I think it happens very naturally. Again, very manic pixie dream girl energy. You don't mean to sweep people off their feet. It just kind of happens. This feels very storybook almost. You make people feel like their life is you make people feel like their life is more interesting than it has been or than it will be without you. Like, you yourself feel so interesting and live such an interesting life, or have such interesting beliefs, or have such an interesting alternative style, that it colors the people around you. It makes them feel more interesting too. It makes their world feel brighter, more interesting, or more interesting. Unique is the word that I was thinking of. And we've got the fish card coming out. Now, the fish card is about depth, and depth here in the sense of spirituality. It's coming out under the angel. If you are a spiritual person, know that you have encouraged other people around you to be spiritual as well. People who likely have questioned that kind of thing, people who might not identify with that kind of belief system or any kind of belief system, in spirituality, any kind of spiritual belief system. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time putting it into words. But you've made people question their own beliefs, and you've made people be more open and more... You've shifted people's perspective on spirituality at least once or twice, just by being you and just by living your life. You feel like you live your life with a lot of faith. It looks like you live your life with a lot of confidence from the outside looking in. And people want that. People want that confidence. People want that faith. People want to be able to move through life the way you move through life, and trust that they're going in the right direction. Trust that there is a divine force or a cosmic energy looking out for them, leading them in the right direction, even if that's just general destiny. You make people feel less nihilistic. I'm so bad at saying that word. I mess it up every time. Nihilistic. You know what I mean. And the sun card, we have another sun card coming out. You bring so much sunshine to people's lives. Like, you come through like a ray of sunshine, and it really does brighten up the world around you. If you ever feel insignificant in your life, know that you have a very significant impact on the people around you just by being you. Just by walking out into the world with all of the confidence that you have, with all of the joy that laces your steps. Like, you inspire people and brighten people's days just by being you. It's it's wonderful. If you ever feel insignificant, don't forget that fact. And we've got the key at the bottom of the deck. Keys are about answers. People feel like you have your life figured out. When they look at you, they see someone who knows where you're going and isn't afraid to put the work in to get there. You are attractive, you are joyful, and you shine from the inside out. And it makes people think that you've got the world figured out in one way or another. They imitate you because they want to live life the way you do. They want the answers that they feel you have gotten out of life. All right, love, that is what I've got for you. People look up to you quite a bit. It's a wonderful energy. It's a wonderful energy. I hope that it was fun. I hope that it was enlightening. I will see you next time. Bye. All right, and we're on pile number 2 with the Three of Hearts. Now, the Three of Hearts is indicative of Three of Cups energy. You are the life of the party. You come through and everyone wants to know you. Everyone wants to be in your energy. This is the energy of knowing how to have a good time. You know how to have a good time. You know how to show other people how to have a good time. And when you really turn up, when you decide to turn up, you make people feel like they're in a dream world. I'm getting like there's something very intoxicating, and the word is very specifically intoxicating. There's something very intoxicating about your energy. The Three of Cups is, in a lot of ways, or it can be in a lot of ways, a card of indulgence. In this deck, the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it depicts three maidens who are cheersing each other in a circle. They are celebrating the harvest. They are drinking and celebrating and laughing and dancing. They're having a good time. You bring the fun with you when you enter the room. And I'm also getting that you encourage people to let loose, but not just in the sense of having fun. You encourage people to let loose in the sense of like emotionally, to like be more honest with themselves, to be more honest, to wear their emotions more clearly on their sleeves. You know what I mean? Again, very, very intoxicating. You might find that when you're around people like kind of say things that they wouldn't usually say, they're a little bit less inhibited, like almost like they are intoxicated a little bit. Like people are very much intoxicated by your energy to the point where it can affect how they act. I'm getting that you're a very attractive person. This happens for a variety of reasons. I'm getting whether it's because people find you to be a little bit intimidating, whether it's because people find you to be distracting for one reason or another. But definitely at least part of what's coming up is that people find you to be very attractive, and it can be both intimidating and distracting, both of the things that I just said. Like, people fall in love with you very easily. The Three of Cups can also be, as the card of Three Hearts, it can also be the card of infidelity. Now, when I say infidelity, the King of Swords coming out right there with that communal Aquarius energy. When I say infidelity, I mean not just romantically. Like, you make people... the Temperance card coming out with that adventurous Sagittarius energy. You make people want to go out on a limb. You make people want to experience new things, do new things. Whether you yourself are someone who is like an adrenaline junkie or someone who loves trying new things, you bring out the adventure in people. If someone has, for example, if someone has a plan that they've been on, like they've been wanting to rent a boat and throw a yacht party. They'll talk to you for a little bit, and with very little prodding, you can convince someone that, yeah, that's like, yes, you only live once. Like, you only live once. You might as well. You might as well do the thing. You might as well tell that person you love them. You might as well try out for that thing or go for that class or buy the thing, do the thing. Like, you only live once. You might as well enjoy it. Not to a point of financial insecurity, I'm getting, but to the point of having fun. You encourage people to have fun in their lives. Like, and I'm getting that also encompasses things like you don't encourage people to live outside of their means or anything like that, because that won't be fun after a while. Like, you can only put yourself in financial jeopardy so much before the fun things that you're doing are not fun. You're just in financial jeopardy and you're adding to it. Like, you encourage people to have fun, whether that means staying in and like popping like a box of wine and playing board games, or going out and like popping bottles in the club. Like, you encourage people to actually enjoy their life. I'm getting that it can be, you attract people who can be a little bit high strung. Your energy attracts people who might find themselves a little bit more anxious than the normal person, or people who like they can't help but like have their mind run a mile a minute. Like, your energy attracts people who need to relax. Your energy attracts people who need to have fun, and they try to imitate your lifestyle because they don't just want it. A lot of the people who come into your life need it. This is the energy of someone who, you come into people's lives and you create relationships with them, not just romantic, but platonic, familial, coworkers. Like, you come into people's lives at the time when they really need to have fun. Like, they really need to relax. They really need to let loose a little bit. And people imitate. I, I'm getting almost an image. I'm getting an image almost of like a mother duck with like baby ducklings following behind them. Like, people imitate you and walk in the footsteps that you leave ahead of them because they want your energy. They want to be able to mimic your energy, and they don't really know how to do it for themselves. Like, these are people a lot of the time. Yeah, the 9 of Wands and the Page of Swords popping out right there. These are people a lot of the time who don't know how to relax, or don't know how to cut loose, or are so caught, or have been so caught up for so long that it's almost like a paranoid thing. The 9 of Wands coming out with that like paranoia with his head wrapped. Like, people who have maybe been through the ringer themselves and are a little bit paranoid or a little bit on edge or anxious. Like, these are people who watch you and imitate you and try to figure out how you move your way through life so fluidly. It feels fluid. It feels like dancing. This is the energy of dancing. When people watch you, they feel like you are dancing your way through life. You have a beautiful laugh and likely a very beautiful smile as well. You make people smile. Your smile is infectious. You make people smile. Your fun is infectious. You make people want to cut loose and have fun. And your love is infectious, regardless of how you give it out. Again, the card of occasionally infidelity. You encourage people to turn away from strict standards, I'm getting. And sometimes that means turning away from holding themselves to really high work standards where they work 7 days a week and they never give themselves any time to relax. And sometimes that means being a little bit distracted from their romantic partner. This is not something that reflects on you. Like, you're just an attractive person and a very vibrant one, both inside and out. Like, it's not your fault that you attract people who maybe shouldn't be attracted to you in the way that they're attracted to you. People can't really help it, though. Like, you again, you enter people's lives at a time when they really need to cut loose, when they really need fun, when they really need some kind of like, when they need to understand that stress is not something that's healthy or good for them, especially not in long stints. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people whose lives you tend to dance into at just the right time. And if they have a partner, it's not your fault that they feel so intensely for you that translates for a lot of them into romantic feelings, sometimes into like just straight up like sexual feelings. Like, it has nothing to do with you past the fact that your energy is very intoxicating and people want it. People want to be involved with it. People want to be all up in it. Like, this is so playful. You have such playful energy. You might be somewhat of a natural flirt. You might be someone who's been accused of flirting when all you're doing is talking. This is the energy of like, I'm not flirting, I'm just hot and talking. Like, it's not. You live your life with a lot of love, is what it is. There's a lot of love in how you move through the world. And especially in the world that we're currently living in, that's something that isn't super common. And it can be very impactful for people who aren't exposed to that on the regular basis. It can be really intoxicating to people who haven't been exposed to that kind of energy. It is impactful no matter what. People have very strong emotional reactions to you and to your energy and to your entering their lives. All right. What more can we know, please? What more can we know about why people imitate you, or what people imitate about you, and why? You might find that people, what stands out most is romantic energies, but this is the energy of like friends, coworkers. Like, you might find that people embellish or potentially flat out lie about the things that they've experienced and the things that they've done in their life to impress you. People really want to impress you, whether you realize it or not. And I'm getting that, like, sometimes it's because they are really like, they're attracted to you, like, just flat out, they're really attracted to you. They want to impress you. And sometimes it's that you make them feel insecure in how much less experienced you make some people feel. Regardless of how old you are, there is a sense here of being a very worldly person. You come off as someone who has experienced life, who has gone through things in life. You likely are someone who has experienced life, who has gone through things in life. And it can make people feel inexperienced, let's say, to have to stand next to you when they have nothing to compare to what you're talking about. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it can make people feel insecure. And it can push people to maybe embellish a little bit on their own experiences. You may be someone who finds that, and this is so frustrating. I totally get it if this has happened to you and you are super frustrated about it. You might be someone who finds that, like, when you say something about yourself, like you tell a story about yourself, there will be someone who crops up to be like, oh, yeah, I've done that before too. Or, oh, that happened to me too. Yeah, I've done that. Like, people imitating your lifestyle, basically, imitating your experiences. People want to be like you. And I'm getting specifically people who do those kinds of things. What they want is to shine in the room the way that you shine. They want people to look at them the same way that they look at you, very starry-eyed. Whether you realize it or not, people look at you with stars in their eyes, if it's not directly hearts in their eyes. And there are people around you, if you don't realize that, there are people around you who realize that, and they want that for themselves. All right. What more can we know, please? What people imitate about you. What do people imitate about you? And why? Yeah, you have no problem attracting romantic partners or romantic interest, and there are definitely people who have been, we'll go with envious about that, and have imitated you very specifically because they're trying to attract people the way that you attract people. They want to be popular and noticed in the way that you are popular and noticed. Even if that popularity and noticing keeps people away from you, actually, because there is a sense here that, like, people can be a little bit intimidated by the energy that you give off. Like, again, you come off as someone who is the life of the party. And it can be really, really intimidating to people who have only heard about you. They've never met you. They've never actually been exposed to your energy. They've just heard the stories about you. And you are someone who people have stories about, stories that they want to tell, stories that they find really fun, stories that they don't want to let go of. This is the energy of, like, you have exes who still tell stories about you, regardless of the fact that it can piss people off around them because they don't want to let go of the memories they have with you. You brought really great memories into their life, regardless of the fact that you might not have, like, left their life even on great terms. Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that you brought amazing things into their life while you were there. And we've got the Page of Cups. All of that sweetheart energy. The Page of Cups is the sweetest of all the pages, the most emotional of all the pages. You bring joy into people's lives. Like, you bring a lot of fun into people's lives. The way that the fish is coming out of the cup there, that fairy tale energy talking to the page, you bring that kind of, like, whimsy into people's lives. Like, and there's also the sense here that, like, when you enter people's lives, things start happening. Like, it very much feels divinely oriented. And I think I've already mentioned this before. You come into people's lives when they need you. Like, it might not happen for every person that you meet, but you definitely have a history of coming into people's lives when they need your energy in their life. And it tends to, like, make other things happen. Like, things start happening for people. You might be someone who's a little bit of a lucky charm to the people around you, the people who you care about. And we've got the Two of Swords. You have very strong intuition. Very strong intuition. You might come off as someone very playful, very whimsical, someone who might not be the most serious person in the room, But when people get to know you, they realize that you have so much depth to you, like depths that people would never imagine, depths that people could never imagine without getting to know you. You are a deep person to your core, the kind of person who people can spend a whole lifetime getting to know. And I'm getting that that's on purpose. You try to keep a distance between yourself and other people. And part of it might be because you're used to people imitating your energy and you don't like you can it after a while it feels like parting yourself out. Like you keep yourself, the core of yourself, really close to your chest because you've found that people try to imitate your energy to be like you. Like what it is people want to be like you. They want to be fun. They want to be the life of the party. They want to be the person who's in all the stories. But it takes more than that to be you, and the secret ingredient is what you keep very close to your chest. And we got the high priestess coming out to double down on that energy. You have incredible intuition. You're really good at reading people too. Definitely the energy of someone who, like, if someone comes into your life and they have bad intentions, you know that. You're someone who can call that out before anyone else feels it. You're likely the kind of person who, like, when you feel like something's up with someone, regardless of how much everyone else likes them, it'll come out eventually that something's up with that person. You are very rarely wrong. And we've got the nine of wands coming up at the bottom of the deck, doubling down on that energy of precaution. Again, you keep a little bit of a distance between yourself and other people because, again, you likely are aware of the fact that people study you. Like, people want to be like you. There are people who study you, who actively try to imitate you. Like, I'm getting walk the way you walk, talk the way you talk. Like, there are people who just want your ability to draw attention. They want your ability to be fun. They want your ability to be memorable. It comes to mind. And it might have put you in positions where you needed to separate yourself from people because the energy was overwhelming. Like, and that can happen when people, regardless of what their intentions are, when people imitate your energy too long or too much, it can be overwhelming and suffocating. It can feel like they are overtaking you a little bit. It's likely that you may have had to, like, separate yourself from people before because of that energy. All right. What more can we know, please, about what people imitate about you and why? The bouquet, a gift. The bouquet is all about gifts, and it comes up right under the Page of Cups. You bring joy to people's lives. You bring fun and pleasure to people's lives. You bring story tale romance to people's lives. You come into people's lives, I'm getting, at exactly the right time, and you leave them with stories to last a lifetime. There are people who are missing you sorely right now, and I'm getting that that's just something that's just life. Like, there are people who will always miss you. And we've got the tree, the long-lasting tree. There are people who will always miss you, people who will never let go of their memories of you. There are people who you might not think of ever again, who will think of you till the day they die, who will remember the stories of you till the day they're gone. And we've got the cross at the bottom of the deck. Now, the cross matches that Nine of Wands energy. Again, it's interesting that ultimately what comes out at the bottom of your deck is the fact that this energy that you were gifted with can be a little bit of a burden. It can be a little bit suffocating sometimes when people latch onto you and don't let you go, regardless of the why or the how they latch onto you. It can be hard to be so lovable. It can be overwhelming to have everyone want a piece of you. All right, loves, that is what I've got for you. Thank you so much for being here with me again today. I hope it was fun. I hope it was enlightening. I will see you next time. Bye. All right, and we are on pile number 3 with the 9 of clubs. Now, the 9 of clubs is indicative of 9 of wands energy. You are a steadfast, steady person who has been through a lot and has gone on no matter what. Like, people have seen you overcome, and that is the word that comes to mind. You have overcome. You are someone who's been through a lot. You are someone who has managed to get through all of it and keep a smile on your face regardless of how battered you might come out on the other end. This is hero energy. Like, this is like white knight energy. Regardless of whether or not you consider someone to be a hero or you consider yourself to be someone who would save other people, people look at you with stars in their eyes as like a hero. There are people who really admire you. They imitate you the way that they would imitate someone who they want to grow up and be like. People imitate you by taking pages out of your book. If you're someone who is open about what you've been through online or has shared any part of your life or your struggle, if that is how you identify it, then there are people who take a lot of strength from what you've said and from what you've shared with them. This is the energy of being rather private. You are someone who isn't the easiest person to get to know, I'm getting. You've been through the ringer. Like, you're very mature. Regardless of how old you are a very mature person. And you've seen quite a bit in your lifetime regardless of how old you are. And we're getting, yeah, we've got the 2 of Wands, the World card, the 5 of Wands, the King of Wands, and the King of Pentacles popping out right there. The 2 of Wands is indicative of the fact that, again, you are very steadfast. You look forward. You look ahead. You are not someone who spends your time staring in the background or staring in the rear view. You look forward. You've gone through things. They might not have been the best, but they put you where you are now, and you move ahead, onward and upward. The World card is indicative of the fact that you have been there and back, I'm getting, regardless of how old you are. You have stories to last you a lifetime, I'm getting. You have been through the ringer, and you make it look almost glamorous, is what I'm getting. You are the kind of person who you can take your struggles, and you don't have to try and make them look like they're easy or like they're fulfilling or anything like that. You might be someone who deals with like people being jealous of you, even in moments where you are the one suffering. Like, even in moments where you are the one going through things, or when you're sharing a story about how you've overcome, you know what I mean? You might be someone who has dealt with people feeling jealous of you or acting a certain way towards you about things that are not your fault in moments where they should be supporting you. And what it is that there are people in life who want to be victims, is what it is. There are people in life who look at the negative experiences that other people have gone through, and they assume that because those people have come out in one piece, that it's easy, or that it's just a story, or it's just something that they can throw around for points or whatever. When in actuality, it is something that changes a person. It is something that weighs a person down, can hurt a person. You know what I mean? Like, you might be someone who has dealt with people being jealous of or trying to imitate the negative things that you've gone through that have gotten you to where you're at in your lifetime. Like, as far as like your maturity goes, your personality goes, maybe even like where you are at in your lifetime as far as your career or your physical health goes. Like, people who look at the experiences that brought you there and all they see is the end point and how people respond to how you got there. And they get really envious of that. They want to be that kind of person. They want to be a hero. They want to come through as kingly energy. You know what I mean? They don't understand that this kind of jealousy is so offensive. So offensive. To be jealous of the negative things that a person has gone through because of the way that other people regard them positively, or because of how they have come out on the other side of it. To be jealous of negative or bad experiences is just some of the most immature shit in the entire world. And you are likely someone who has been exposed to that kind of energy before. Know that on the other end of that, though, there are people who, again, they want to walk in your footsteps in the energy of like, there are people who want to be you when they grow up. Like, regardless of how old you are, regardless of how old they are, there are people who look at how you hold yourself, look at what you've been through in life and how you've gotten to where you are, and they want to be like you. They don't want to go through what you've gone through. They don't want to downplay what you've gone through. They don't want to glamorize or romanticize what you've gone through, but they want to be like you because you are who you are despite of everything you've gone through. You bring a lot of hope to people's lives. For every person that tries to downplay or doesn't understand the difficulties that you've gone through, there is a person who relates to you very strongly and is really inspired by the fact that you are still going and you are still on your feet and you're thriving. Like, you're not just going, you're not just struggling, you're thriving. Even if you don't feel like you're thriving, people look at you and they think that you're thriving because you look that way. You hold yourself like someone who knows what they're doing and someone who isn't afraid. I think that more than anything, you look at life and you seem totally unafraid. You might be someone who finds yourself in a minority group or on several minority accesses, in fact, and you don't let any of it get to you. At least you don't let it show that it gets to you if it ever gets to you. Like, you hold yourself with pride and you hold yourself with your head high, and you don't let the obstacles weigh you down. And there are people who really need to see that. There are people who really, really need that kind of energy in their life. They need to know that it's possible, is what it is. I keep seeing specifically like a hero with like a cape and kids looking at them, looking up at them with like their silhouette, like they're silhouetted. Why are words so hard? They're silhouetted against the sun. there's like a hero silhouette with like a cape, and there are kids looking up at that. Regardless of how old you are, and regardless of how old the people who really look up to you are, they look up to you. Like, you are a hero to some people, regardless of the how or the why. What you've gone through and how you've gone through it has made you a hero in the eyes of some people who really needed a hero, who really needed to see themselves in someone who made it, who was thriving, who knew what they were doing. And we've got the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Now, the Knight of Swords is the most tenacious of all the knights. He goes forward regardless of the cost, and he goes forward, he charges forward is what it is. He charges forward regardless of the cost to get to his goal. The Eight of Cups, with that emotional moving forward. You don't let things hold you back. And no one would blame you if you let things hold you back. Again, you come off as someone who has been through quite a bit. No one would blame you if you let things keep you down, but you don't. And there are people who need to see that. And you come into their lives at a good moment, I'm hearing. That seems to be the thread for this reading. You guys come into people's lives when they need you. Different types of people, different times. When people need you, you show up in their lives. Regardless of even if you ever talk to them. Like, if you're someone, for instance, who has like a big following online or anything like that, there might be people who you will never speak to, who know your story, have followed your story, and take a lot of comfort from it, take a lot of inspiration from it, take a lot of motivation from it. You might never know them. You might never be exposed to them, but they know you, and you have still impacted their life. We've got the Page of Cups popping out with the Seven of Cups. Now, the Page of Cups and the Seven of Cups popping out together, you make people see choices. You don't let things get you down. And even in the face of really dramatic odds, I'm getting, you still approach things with a certain type of lightheartedness that makes people feel like things are possible. You don't act like life is heavy. You don't act like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You move and act like you have faith in what's coming towards you. You might have to be very strong and steadfast regardless of what it is, but you have faith that you're being led to the proper place. The King of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords popping out once again. These are both fighters. These are both people. This is the only king that has any level of armor on his body. These are both fighters. You are someone who continues to move forward. And when I say fighters, I don't necessarily mean that you move forward with the tenacity of the Knight of Swords in how you behave. Like, you fight every day by getting up and by continuing to move forward. You fight every day by not letting things weigh you down or crush you. You are a fighter just by being you and moving through life. And you inspire people with your fight. People imitate your fight when they don't know how to fight for themselves. What more can we know, please? What more can we know about what people imitate about you and why they do so? All right, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles popping out. The Ace of Pentacles as the new start, to follow the Nine of Wands energy that we've been kind of riding on this whole time. You don't let things get you down. The Ace of Pentacles is a new start every time. You get back on your feet and you try again. Even when you have to reevaluate, even when you have to rethink, even when you have to scrap the whole idea and start over, you don't let it get you down. You're there with the seed and you're ready to plant and you're ready to see what grows from it. People want that faith. People want that fight. People want that tenacity. To be able to be knocked down 7 times and get back up an 8th time. People want that. They want your strength. People imitate you because they want your strength. They want to be able to be strong. And I'm getting even like valiant the way you are. You might not see yourself that way, but people really look up to you. There are people who you're a hero in their eyes. Especially if you have kids. If you have kids or if kids are in your life on the regular, know that there are kids who adore you, who see you as a hero, especially if you're a mom or dad. And we've got the Queen of Pentacles coming out right there. You have a gentle touch, regardless of the fact that life may not have been very gentle with you. You are still kind and you are still supportive of the people around you, of the way that, like, understanding of the way that people move their way through lives. You don't expect everyone to be. This is the energy of someone who you don't want other people to suffer because you've suffered. This isn't the energy of someone who you expect other people to suffer because you had to do it too. Like, you don't want other people to suffer because you know how that feels. You don't want to inflict pain on other people. You want to make other people's lives easier and more pleasant and more fun than you have had to be exposed to. You care about people in a very deep way. And I'm getting that it can be something that you hold very close to your chest. Like, you may not be someone who's open about just how much you want to help the people around you, but you show how you care in your actions. Actions speak louder than words. No matter what we're talking about, actions speak louder than words. And you show people that you care. You show people that you want them to move forward and be better and do better. You lead by example and you support people when you care about them. We've got the Five of Pentacles with that in sickness and in health energy. You're very loyal, steadfast. The word steadfast keeps coming up. You're very loyal, not just to your own ideals, not just to the people around you. You're loyal. So sorry about that. That was a phone call I had to take. Anyway, as I was saying, you are very loyal. And the people around you take a lot of heart in that loyalty. You encourage other people to walk the walk and talk the talk, like, not just talk the talk, but walk the walk, because that's how you behave. People want to be you when they grow up. You encourage people to be more steadfast. You encourage people to be more honest with themselves and with the people around them. This is very parental energy in a lot of ways. You're a very natural caregiver. And it's funny because I'm getting that, again, you are the kind of person likely who, like, it might surprise people who don't really know you that you are so focused on caregiving, like, that you are such a caregiver. Like, you don't frame yourself that way. You don't expect people. you likely don't even realize how much people look up to you. Like it likely doesn't even really cross your mind that there are people who genuinely really look up to you and really admire how you live your life. And we've got the Nine of Cups coming out as the bottom of the deck energy. That is the wish fulfillment card. The Nine of Cups is a really interesting energy to come out because you are a very bright person, and I'm getting that you only share that brightness with people who you feel deserve it. Again, you are likely someone who has been burned by people before, and instead of becoming a bitter, selfish person, you became a more closed off person. You lead by example. You only give your smile and your sunshine to people who deserve it. But I'm getting that you are the kind of person who would stop the world for the people who you care about. You would give anything to help the people who you care about if they needed the help. You are the most reliable person that a lot of people know. People know that if they need you, they can come to you and you will help them. Yeah, actions speak louder than words, and you are someone who leads by example. People who you care about don't question whether or not you care about them. You don't give them the room to. Like, there's no reason for them to question it. You are reliable, and you come through for them when they need you. You do what you say you're going to do. All right, what more can we know, please, about what people imitate about you and why? There are definitely people who see you in a rather grandiose fashion, regardless of how old you are and regardless of how old the people who you're dealing with are. People see you as very mature. You make people feel rather immature in their behavior because you hold yourself so well. And we've got the Man card. Yep, that extroverted energy and that natural leader energy. There's a lot of yang energy that comes through with that card, right? You come off as someone who is a natural born leader. And whether you see yourself like that or not, again, it's because you lead by example. You are a natural leader. You don't expect anyone to do anything that you yourself would not do. And it makes people feel comforted. You might have high expectations, but you don't expect anything from anyone that they can't give. You encourage people to want more of themselves and to want more of the people around them, frankly. And we've got the Key. You seem like someone who has everything figured out. People imitate you because they want to be. The word heroic comes to mind. Hero keeps coming to mind. Like, people want to be heroic like you. They want to live their life like you. You come off as someone very moral. You come off as someone very righteous, almost, is the word that comes to mind, but righteous feels too full of itself, even. Like, you don't feel any certain way about yourself. People just watch you live your life, and because of how you live your life, they live their lives better too, because they are inspired by you. And we've got the Lilies at the bottom of the deck. Lilies are very pure. They are a very pure energy, and they're also the mature man energy in the Lenormand deck, with the King of Spades energy coming through there. Regardless of how you identify, you are someone who makes people feel safe. And not just in your protection of them, but you make people feel safe to be who they are and to move forward regardless of whether or not they can see clearly what's coming next. You give people courage is what it is. You give people courage to take the next step forward, because again, they want to be brave like you. All right, loves, that is what I've got for you. Thank you so much for being here again with me today. I hope it was fun. I hope it was enlightening. I will see you next time. Bye. All right, last but certainly not least, we're on pile number 4 with the 8 of Spades. Now, the 8 of Spades is indicative of the 8 of Swords, of 8 of Swords energy. You are someone who likely looks on the bright side of things regardless of how dark things get. The 8 of Swords is the card of self-imprisonment. The trick to the 8 of Swords is figuring out how to get out of your own binds before the water rises. You have likely been in some very, very intense, we'll go with intense, situations in your life. And you've come out on the other side stronger, arguably better. I am a firm believer in the fact that no one should have to go through terrible things to grow or learn their lessons. But that doesn't change the fact that that is very often how people grow and learn their lessons. You learn your lessons when they are presented to you. You take them in and you don't let bad situations drag you down or drown you. We've got the 9 of Swords and the Strength card. Regardless of how bad things get, regardless of how dark the night gets ahead of you, you are strong. You don't let it drag you down. You don't let it discourage you. You look on the bright side of things regardless of how dark the situation may seem. And you encourage the people around you to do the same thing. I'm getting that people take a lot of strength from you. Like, you bring strength to the rooms that you enter. You encourage people to be stronger and to be more confident in themselves, I'm hearing. To be more confident in their ability to survive, in their ability to move forward, in their ability to progress. This is very strong. I want to say fake it till you make it energy, but it's a little bit more concise than that. This is the energy of someone who smiles through all of the bad things. You face life with a smile on your face, and you wear it sort of like armor. Like, you don't let the world get you down, or at the very least, you don't let the world see you down. Yeah, the Devil card in reverse popping out right there. The chains are falling off, right? Like, the Devil card in reverse is the card of being set free. Regardless of how tight the bonds might seem in the 8 of Swords, you find out how to get out of them. You find out how to set yourself free. It might not always be an easy task to keep a smile on your face and to keep yourself moving forward and looking on the bright side of things, but that's what you do. That's exactly how you try to live your life. And people take a lot of strength from that. People take a lot of encouragement from that. You're a very lovely person. You have a very... I'm getting gentle. You have a very gentle touch. Despite everything that you've been through, you are someone who is still very empathetic to the people around you. You don't look down on people's suffering. You don't compare it to your own. You don't hold them to any standards that you may hold yourself to. You just kind of let people be, and you let people feel, and you make people feel safe in your company. and safe in your presence. You come off as someone very experienced, regardless of how old you are, regardless of how much you've been through in life. You come off as someone very worldly. And people come to you looking for advice. I'm getting both people young and old, people younger than you, people older than you. This has likely happened for you your entire life, where people will just approach you for your advice. People trust you to have a good head on your shoulders. And whether they're straightforward about it or not, people really trust your point of view. The Two of Cups popping out right there. People have a lot of faith in you. People really trust your point of view. I'm so sorry. Don't mind my voice giving out. There's a lot of... You naturally draw people in. There's a lot of magnetism there. And it's a very pure-hearted magnetism. You are likely someone, this has come up in all the piles, you are likely someone who people have a very easy time falling in love with you. You are a very lovely person inside and out. And it attracts people to you. You come off as someone very non-judgmental. So you don't just attract people to you, you attract people in their most authentic form to you. And I'm getting that at times that can actually be really intense. At times that can be a really heavy experience to have to go through, actually. People can be a lot. Without any specificities, like, people can just be a lot, and you make people feel comfortable not holding themselves back. We've got the Page of Cups, the Hermit card, the Knight of Wands, and the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Cups and the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands at the beginning and the end of the 4 cards that popped out here, you make people feel young. You rejuvenate people. And it's followed by the Hermit card, very ironically, because you also bring answers to people, again, with that very... The Hermit has answers. He shines a light on things, right? Again, with that energy of people come to you for advice. People really trust your point of view, and they trust what you have to say on things. People trust your opinion on things. Despite that, you bring youth to life. You bring joy and renewal to life. You come off as someone very bright. Like, almost bubbly. Like, there's almost a bubbly energy coming through here. You're very happy. Like, people see you as someone very happy. You bring happiness with you. It's hard to be upset around you. You feel like someone very adventurous. You feel like someone very... confident? Is confident the word that I'm looking for? Someone who rides into things with faith that things will turn out correctly. Or at the very least, that is how people see you. That is how people seem to think that you hold yourself. That you have a lot of faith in things to go correctly and to turn out well. And people want that. People try to imitate that energy, is what I'm getting. People try to imitate this energy of, like, being profound and deep and having all of these answers and being so knowledgeable and wise, while also being fun and youthful and energetic and enjoyable and adventurous. Like, you have a very good yin-yang balance to you, a very good balance between your masculine and your feminine sides. And people want that. Like the people, there are people around you who want that. They try to imitate that level of balance that you have. I'm getting, though, that it's not something that can be imitated. Like, yeah, the Three of Swords popping out right there. Your balance comes from whether it was purposeful or not, introspection. Like, your balance comes from going through your heart and pulling out those swords, pulling out the things that hurt you, pulling out the insecurities and the deep dark that you have in yourself that everyone has in themselves. You know what I mean? Like, you've done the introspection. This is like the energy of doing a lot of really intense shadow work, if that's something that you're into. Like, that's how you have the balance that you have. That's where you get this really great evenness to your energy. And without the willingness to do the work, people will never be able to imitate that. Like, it's something that there are definitely people who try. People have definitely tried. Yeah, the Hierophant coming up there. There are definitely people who have really looked up to that energy of yours and really looked up to how you balance yourself. But unless they're willing to do the internal work, they will never find that level of equilibrium. You're still growing even. Like, there are people who look up to you as like the pinnacle of being, especially if you're someone openly spiritual. Like, there are people who really look up to you as like the pinnacle of those kinds of beliefs, and you yourself are still growing. Like, they don't really understand the High Priestess popping out right then. Yeah, they don't really understand that, like, you might be very naturally gifted, and you might have gone through all of the work and done so much work on yourself. You're still in the process of growing, though, because all of life is the process of growing. And people can't just chase your status the whole time. They can't just chase your peace and chase your balance and chase your equilibrium. They have to find it themselves within themselves. And I'm getting that can be really intimidating to people. It can be really difficult for people to... It's easier for people to follow you and try to imitate what you do than it is for them to sit down and be honest with themselves a lot of the time. Definitely getting that you are someone who... you attract people who want to grow and who want to expand the way that you've expanded in your life. But some of these people, yeah, the Six of Wands, some of these people look up to you in a very... Some of these people look up to you in a very healthy manner, and some of these people look up to you in a very unhealthy manner. There are some people who look at you as like a guide or a mentor, and there are some people who look at you as like a photocopy. Do you know what I mean? So sorry about that. Anyway, as I was saying, there are some people who look at you as a guide, and there are some people who look at you as like someone to be photoshopped. They are not trying to learn their lessons. They're just trying to get to where you are. All right, what more can we know, please, about what people imitate about you? All right, and the World card popping out right there, followed by the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the World card, you come off as someone, again, with a lot of balance, someone who's been through a lot. The World card is the accumulation of everything that you've gone through in your path and in your life, right? It speaks of fulfillment and endings. You have gone through the cycle many times. It's how you've grown and how you've established yourself. Again, you're still in the process of growing. You're still in the process of getting better and leveling up. That's not something that you'll ever be done with. And on some level, you come off as someone who's accepted that. That's why you are continuously growing. People who look at you as someone to be photocopied, look at you as someone to be copied at all without the growth that goes in, or without the introspection that goes into it, they can't understand that they'll never catch up, because your growth is powered by yourself while their growth is powered by your growth. They will always be one step behind. The Ace of Pentacles, that willingness to start over, to follow the completion. You're always starting over again. You're always going through the transformation process. I'm getting that you're someone who attracts people who are needing to transform. You enter people's lives during very transformative periods, and some people lean into the transformation, I'm getting, and some people really shy away from it and back away from it. You open people's eyes and you show them that transformation doesn't have to be a scary process. Yeah, especially if you are an openly spiritual person, you come off as a very strong spiritual leader. There are a lot of people who look up to you in that regard and really value what you have to say. All right. What more can we know, please? What more can we know about what people imitate about you and why? All right. The Two of Swords popping out right there. You are a trendsetter, and I'm getting that you are someone who... You're a trendsetter in the way that, like, you're likely someone who... You're into things a long time before they get popular. Like, this is the energy of someone who's, like, a big comic book fan before Marvel blew up. You know what I mean? Or like a big anime fan before anime got so big in the West. Like, you are ahead of the curve in a lot of ways. And there are a lot of people, like, just flat out, there are a lot of people who like to jack your actual style. Like, you might have issues with people copying your literal, just like, style and fashion sense. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. People really like they really like your style, and not just your style is in your fashion, but like your style is in like your lifestyle. Like, people really like how you live your life. All right. What more can we know, please, about what people imitate about you and why? Yeah, regardless of what kind of lifestyle you live, on some level you make it look kind of glamorous. There are definitely people who find it to be, who harbor a little bit of envy towards the lifestyle you lead, even if that lifestyle is one that's not worth envying. Like, that came out wrong. I'm so sorry. Regardless of how you live your life, regardless of what your life is, obviously there will always be parts of it, potentially all of it, worth envying. But, like, even if you are in a situation where, like, you feel like you wouldn't envy yourself if you are, like, on the outside looking in, there are people who envy your life, and it's because of how you make it look from the outside looking in. And we've got the Moon card in reverse. Now, the Moon card is about illusions, and in reverse, it's even more intensely, or in a lot of ways, it's about illusions, and in reverse, it's even more intensely about not seeing things clearly. You are someone who very, how do I put this? You walk into situations regardless of whether or not you can see them clearly. Again, in the Eight of Swords, the person who's featured in the Rider-Waite deck, who's depicted, her eyes are covered. And the eyes were covered in the Two of Swords that popped out for you earlier too. Like, you might not always be able to see straight ahead of you down the path that you're walking, but you still commit to it and you still move forward and walk through it. You have very strong intuition. This is the energy of, like, gliding your way through life almost, and trust, like, with your eyes closed, and trusting yourself to intuitively miss the roadblocks. And you have a very strong sense of intuition. You likely have developed that strong sense of intuition by committing to it like this for your whole life. And we've got the Six of Wands popping out again. You have, again, regardless of how you might feel about your life, as far as like what you think people should feel from the outside looking in, there are a lot of people who really envy what you have going on, who see you as having won at life already. I think I've already mentioned this, that like you're still on the come up. Like you're going to continue to be on the come up, leveling up. The Six of Wands kind of depicts you moving consistently through that. Like there are people who see you as this massively successful person because you are always leveling up. And we've got the Four of Swords. And you make it look really, really easy. Like the Four of Swords is the rest card. You make it look like a very simple task to just continue to move forward and continue to transform. And for people, especially people who, when you come into their life, they're like stuck on a transformation, that is the most impressive thing in the entire world. People try to imitate that energy as you move your way through transformations because they don't know how to transform so seamlessly. It's not a talent that a lot of people are born with. And we've got the Magician at the bottom of the deck. It's not a talent that a lot of people are born with, but you were very spiritually blessed. You were very spiritually blessed. And we've got the Fox popping out already. You're also very clever. The Fox coming out highlights the Mercury in the Magician card. You're very clever to the point where, like, it can be difficult for people to believe everything that you say sometimes because you are such a smooth talker that it can be difficult for people to constantly take you at your word, especially when you're being complimentary towards them. But I get that you're a really sweet person. Yeah, it keeps coming through that you're a very sweet person, a very supportive person. Very hard to read. You're definitely hard to read. And people try to imitate that. There's this energy of like, almost like femme fatale energy, like mysterious almost. People really try to emulate your mystique. All right, what more can we know, please, about what people try to imitate about you and why? And we've got the Sickle card. Now, the Sickle card is about harvest. It's reminiscent of the World card popping out earlier. Again, it's about the transformation season. It's about the transformation between the growing season to the winter season, the harvest season in the middle. People want, especially people who focus on the end of the transformation for you, like the moment when you move up a level, they really envy you for your ability to transform. Like I'm getting that there are a lot of people who they kind of glide past and overlook all of the extra work and like internal effort, especially that you put into constantly moving forward like this. And it's an energy that people try to copy and try to imitate without quite understanding just how much effort goes into it. And we've got the Bouquet. You're lovely. You're a lovely person. You are a lovely person, regardless of how much effort you might spend on every part of your life and how high of a standard you might hold yourself to. You are absolutely a wonderful, lovely person. The people in your life are really lucky to have you. And we've got the Paths card. The Paths card is all about choices. You wake up every day and you decide to be a kind person. Despite everything that may have happened to you in your life, despite the fact that you might not know exactly where you're headed next, You wake up every day and you choose to be a good person regardless of everything. And that is something that people try to emulate. That is a really great mark to leave on the world. You encourage people to be more like that, and it spreads. It's your kindness is infectious, and it is an amazing mark to leave on the world. All right, loves, that is what I've got for you. Thank you so much for being here with me again today. I hope it was fun. I hope it was enlightening. I will see you next time. Bye.